Okay, before we get going here, we're extremely excited to announce that the Kentucky game is officially sold out. It certainly is a compliment to, this program, right? The history, the tradition here, the passion that our people have for this place. And again, I can't emphasize enough, University of Florida is a special place. It's impacted a lot of people. And I'm excited they like to come back. This is a place where they made a bunch of great memories, and certainly watching football games in the swamp is a part of that. So good work today. Thought we responded well. It's been good and hot out there the last 2 days, and certainly today I thought, especially early on, we really attacked it the right way. Faded a little bit at the end, but I think we had the right approach. So we'll clean it up tomorrow and Friday and get ready to go. What questions we got?
All right, we'll start with that, Kurt.
So I asked you about Ricky today and his recruitment, but what does he bring to this receiver room that it kind of needed?
Well, I think Ricky, first of all, he's a very experienced player, and he's been a very productive player, right? If you look at his history at Arizona State. What stands out to me about Ricky is he's a very skilled player, right? He's skilled at the line of scrimmage, at the top of the route. He's got really good ball skills. He's got a unique quickness and acceleration. I think he's got a little creativity. Guy's been running routes a long time, right? And I think, we needed a player like that, right, that had some run after catch, that had some quickness. And I think he's a unique player in the slot there and presents a mismatch. The guy's also 6'1.5", 195 pounds, right? So he's not a small guy. So we're excited about Ricky. Certainly proved his worth and his dependability last week.
How much does he help Anthony, and did you see a synergy develop between them other than the time he was on the shelf a little bit?
Well, I think that we got a really good receiver room, and the way we practice, Anthony gets plenty of reps with that whole group. The ball went to Ricky, right? The ball went to Ricky. The coverage, the progression. Ricky got some opportunities in the game, and, we're hopeful that all players have synergy. That's a good word. I like that word. But, I think that whole group there I've been pleased with. I think we're getting closer and closer to being where we need to be.
Hey, Coach, obviously week one, you guys now want to pull out all the stops and show your entire hand for the rest of the competition. How important was it for you to see Anthony and the rest of the team just execute the offense you asked them to, as opposed to having to delve into some kind of trick plays and gag like that?
Man, you don't know me very good. We're going to do whatever we need to do to win each week. We don't hold anything back. It's a single event, right? It's a single mission, right? We're trying to capture or defend something. We're going to do everything that we can to win the game, right? And we never hold anything back. That life, that world does not exist in college football, in my opinion. Certainly with the approach that we want to take. So I think we're more focused on the execution piece. I think we have work to do when it comes to detail and discipline to execute, fundamentals and techniques, communication, alignment, eye discipline, in-game decision-making. Those are the things that we're focused on right now. We need to improve in those areas. But it is, as coach speak as it sounds, it is truly 1 week at a time, one competitive event at a time.
Billy, having looked at the film and everything, did Anthony see the field as well as you thought he would? Did he make his progressions, et cetera, like that? Are you pleased with what you saw out of that?
Very much so. I don't think there was a play in the game where, the guy did something that was outside of the 1 3rd and 10 where he was pedaling and threw it into coverage. The decision-making was really good. I thought a handful of plays, 6 or 8 plays in the game where we got some either-ors where it was gray. Maybe we felt like afterwards, he'd been better off doing something else. But he understands what's going on out there. He sees it well.
Coach Raymond's teachings that's rubbing off on Jason and the rest of the corners?
I think that group is very much a work in progress. They continue to improve and develop. They're getting more comfortable in the new scheme, the new techniques that are being taught. It's good to get Jason back, for him to be able to participate. Certainly, we got some good young player in Devin Moore there. And we're excited that Jaden Hill has actually started doing some things in practice this week, and anticipate getting him back here pretty soon. So that room there can be a strength for our team. And Corey Raymond's he's the best, right? And proof's in the pudding, and I think his track record speaks for itself. And we're really excited about the combination of the veteran and Corey and then Patrick. Those two, I can't imagine having a better group of coaches in the secondary than those two.
Coach, I know for your peer, for Jenny Rowland and the gymnastics team, they live by a real simple saying. It says that pressure is a privilege, right? Because you work so hard for the big moment, and you want that pressure of living up to it. Why is that something that you and the football team can kind of aspire to as well as this young season progresses?
Yeah, I think in these venues, these environments, this league, this level of kind of it's magnified, right? You got a lot of people watching. I think, I always try to flip the script in my head with myself and our team. It's really opportunity, right? I think as soon as I see the word pressure in my mind, I say opportunity, right? And I think if we can take that approach and view it that way, we get to do it. We don't have to do it, right? So, this is truly a privilege. Heck, to play in this league at a place like the University of Florida is a special experience, and one that, not everybody gets to do. So it's opportunity, and I think we try to view it that way. But I think, like you mentioned there, they're doing something right over there, and we've got a ton of respect for their approach.
Why do coaches say that they see the most improvement from week 1 to week 2? And with that said, what areas would you like to see the most improvement?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think a couple things. First of all, I think you settle into the routine a little bit, right? You get to start over, erase the board. Okay, Sunday. What does Sunday look like? All the way through the week. Probably made a handful of mistakes preparing the previous week. You get those things corrected. And I think our approach is, during the season, we want to be a well-oiled machine, right? So I think that week 1 to week 2 is partly that way because you got probably 30% of your building where everything is brand new. They've never done any of this before. And I think that's magnified with a new staff, right? I'm hopeful that we will improve each week and get consumed with the process of preparing the team, right, so that they can play with confidence. And really, that's your job as a coach, right? You're a teacher, and step by step throughout the week, you're trying to recreate the game in a practice setting. You're trying to do that. So I think that's really what we're consumed with. I don't know that I could put together a laundry list of things. I don't know that we did anything elite in the game. I think we did a lot of things very average in the game and some below average. And we made some wow plays, right? There were times where we did it exactly right, and it was beautiful, right? But the percentage of that was too low for me, right? So we want to have more plays where we have 11 players doing exactly what they're coached to do, right?
With that said, talking about the process, does it help having the same venue and the same game time almost?
I do think it does help, right? Because the timeline is exactly the same and the venue's exactly the same, right? So, we quality controlled every minute of Friday, Saturday, in terms of what that looked like, because that was the first time for the majority of people in the organization outside of a few players. I'm talking about everything, every part. So I think we're going to be better. We learned some things. And I know we got a great group of people here throughout the building that take a lot of pride in their role. So that's when you get it going, is when you got a lot of good people taking pride in what they do.
Billy Cam Rising's obviously a unique matchup. Hard guy to sack. how did you feel the pressure was, and did you see some positives there? And obviously that's something you guys want to continue to grow on.
Yeah, no, I think he is, man. He's tough because it's hard to cut it loose because, you got to keep some integrity in those rush lanes so he doesn't break the pocket, especially with the way we play coverage, right? And I think it's important. And, we did a good job to some degree of doing that, keeping him in the pocket, pushing it into him and affecting him. A lot of guys were selfless in their approach and didn't, try to be individuals and get the sack. They pushed the pocket, they kept him in there. There were a handful of times where he broke the pocket, right? And I think that's one of the things that we will need to do well this week is to stay in our spokes, to keep the pocket, push the pocket, try to affect the quarterback. We got to win more one-on-ones. That was one of the things that stood out to me. We created some one-on-ones. We need players to win one-on-ones and sack the quarterback, right? So we got a very similar matchup this week in terms of the type of athlete we have at quarterback. So it is definitely an area where we need to continue to focus on and improve and work together in the rush to do our job and affect the quarterback.
You see the video of him eat a banana?
Say that again?
Did you see the video of Levis eat a banana?
Of who?
Will Levis.
Will Levis.
Haven't
He
seen
eats the
that.
banana with the skin on.
Good peel, yeah.
Time for just a few more, guys.
I thought maybe you'd seen it.
You got too much free time on your hands.
I heard it on a podcast.
You mentioned on the teleconference how that ranking doesn't mean anything. How did you address that with the team when it came out? Or did you?
No, we ain't talked about that.
A few weeks ago, you mentioned the growth that Tyreek staff has had within the past few months. Can you just talk a little bit more specifically about the growth that you have seen within him and his mindset heading into Utah and, playing his first game on being a Florida Gator?
Yeah. Man, don't you love Sapp? He's pretty fun to be around, right? Tyreek Sapp is a joy to coach, man. I mean, every time I see that guy, he puts me in a better mood, right? I mean, he has got great spirit about him. The guy's a worker. I mean, the motor's always running. He's always very positive in his approach. And the guy's never played before, right? I mean, we forget that, right? I mean, we have a lot of players on our team that was the first significant playing time that they had. He's on that list. There's a huge list of those guys, right? So he's one of the players that I think will make progress as the year goes, right? But, Tyreek, he represents everything that we want for a football player to be, right? I mean, he's a great student. He's great in the community. He's got a positive attitude. He works. He's a student of the game. And he's a young player, right? He's got a bright future in front of him.
Really, after the game, we saw you address the team and basically told them that they've been playing football their whole life. It's not about that. How important was it for you to deliver that message to them after a win like that and kind of reemphasize the things that have been holding them back that they control?
I think when you take over these situations, you try to ask a bunch of questions, right? And you try to listen, especially early on, right? And I think the consensus was that really those were where the issues lied, right? We really had to work hard to galvanize the team, to create chemistry and morale and crossover, really work intentionally to get to know each other. Not just know their name and where they're from, but know their story, right? Know a few things, where you can motivate a guy, right? You know how to push their buttons. When something's okay, hey, he's right today, or maybe something's wrong, right? I think it's important in this game. There's a human element to the game. I think we like to say, and I actually told them today, football is a game that's about people, strategy, and competition. Right, and if you ever put strategy or competition at the top of that list, you're not going to get the return you want, right? You got to keep people at the core of what you do. If you get to thinking you're going to outsmart everybody, you're wrong. If you get to thinking you're going to outwork everybody, you're wrong, right? It's the right combination of those three, and you got to keep people at the core of what you do. So I think you know, that's one of the reasons that we've made progress, and there's a lot left to do. But I think one of the reasons that we had success is we've worked hard at that part.
One last question in the back.
Coach, you got to walk out there and see what the crowd was like for Utah. Right? That was the home opener. This is now the SEC opener with Kentucky. What do you think those emotions are going to be like when you hear a Swamp just as loud, if not louder, than they were a week ago?
You know, I think it's football, man, right? I think I've tried to, in my mind, you know, we're playing the same game, coaching the same game. We just got a lot more people watching, right? So I think it's humbling. But I think as a coach, what are you worried about, right? You're worried about your team and their ability to go execute, right? Their ability to be confident in the plan. And then you try to keep your poise and make good in-game decisions to help the team win, right? And I think ultimately, you know, there is emotion with this game, but I think it's critical that we don't get too emotional, if that makes sense. And I think the players, you know, that poise, I think that's required, especially in big games, and certainly this week is a huge game. So I think it's a good question, and one that, you know, it's important that we take the right approach.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Say that again?
Is the hoodie a weekly staple? Are you going to be wearing the hoodie every week or no?
No, it was a rain game, so we had to wear that. But
All right, thank you, Coach.
you're my fashion consultant, by the way.
All right, thank you.